Hello, my lovely viewers. It's time to fix the very common mistakes once and for all. Welcome to 25 geography facts that are wrong but everyone believes. Here's to another video of this interesting series. Let's get started real quick. 1. The Statue of Liberty was always green. If you've ever seen the Statue of Liberty, you know it's a giant, beautiful green lady standing proudly in New York Harbor. But guess what? She wasn't always green. When France gifted the Statue of Liberty to the US in 1886, she was shiny brown because she was made of copper. Yes, just like a brand new penny. But over time, the copper reacted with oxygen, and a natural chemical process called oxidation created that famous green patina we see today. And no, people didn't just let it happen out of laziness. The green layer actually protects the statue from rusting further. So, ironically, Lady Liberty is greener than ever, but in a good way. 2. The US flag hasn't always had 50 stars. Most people recognize the 50-star flag of the United States, but did you know it has changed 27 times throughout history? When the US was founded in 1776, the flag had only 13 stars to represent the original colonies. Over time, as states joined the Union, stars were added. The 50-star version we know today wasn't adopted until July 4, 1960, after Hawaii became a state. So the US flag has looked different at many points in history. 50 stars is just the latest version. 3. The US is the most diverse country. Many people believe that the United States is the most diverse country in the world, but that's not entirely true. While the US is very diverse, several other countries have even greater ethnic, linguistic, and cultural diversity. For example, Papua New Guinea has over 800 languages, making it the most linguistically diverse nation. India has hundreds of ethnic groups and multiple major religions. Brazil, South Africa, and Canada also rank high in diversity. The US is diverse, but not the most diverse. Many countries surpass it in cultural and ethnic variety. 4. Christmas is a worldwide Christian holiday. While Christmas is widely celebrated, not all Christian-majority countries recognize it as a public holiday. For example, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, and North Korea do not officially observe Christmas, despite having Christian communities. Additionally, many non-Christian countries such as Japan and India celebrate Christmas in a secular way, with decorations and gift-giving, but without religious significance. So, while Christmas is popular globally, it is not universally recognized or solely a Christian holiday. 5. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Ever heard someone say, "Don't worry, lightning never strikes the same place twice"? Well, that's totally wrong. In fact, it's the opposite. Lightning actually loves hitting the same spot over and over, especially if it's something tall like a skyscraper, mountain, or tree. For example, the Empire State Building gets struck by lightning about 25 times a year. The same lone tree can get hit multiple times in a single storm. So, if you are ever caught in a thunderstorm, don't assume you're safe just because a bolt has already struck nearby. 6. Most of the world follows one religion. The idea that most of the world follows one religion is a myth. In reality, the world is highly religiously diverse, with multiple major faiths and countless smaller traditions. The largest religion, Christianity, is followed by about 31% of the global population, while Islam comes next with around 25%. Other major religions include Hinduism, 15%, Buddhism, 7%, and various folk and indigenous religions. Additionally, about 16% of the world's population is non-religious or atheist. No single religion dominates the world. Humanity is spiritually diverse, with no majority faith. 7. The North Star is the brightest star in the sky. When someone says, "Follow the North Star," you might imagine it as the biggest, brightest star in the sky. But nope, it is actually Sirius. Sirius, also called the Dog Star, is the brightest star visible from Earth. The North Star, Polaris, is famous for being aligned with Earth's axis, so it stays in the same spot in the night sky, but it's nowhere near the brightest. 8. You'd explode in space. Without a spacesuit, Science fiction movies love to scare us with scenes of astronauts instantly exploding if they remove their helmet in space. But in reality, you wouldn't explode. Yes, space is a vacuum, and yes, it's dangerous without a suit. But here's what would actually happen. You'd lose consciousness in about 15 seconds due to lack of oxygen. Your blood wouldn't boil. Your skin keeps it pressurized. You'd freeze eventually, but not instantly. 9. Rain only comes from big, fluffy clouds. If you picture a rainy day, you probably imagine big, dark storm clouds. But while busting another myth, rain can fall from clouds that are nearly invisible. Some clouds, like stratus clouds, are thin and hard to see, but they can still produce steady rain. Even on a clear day, moisture in the atmosphere can cause light rain or drizzle without any big, fluffy clouds in sight. 10. Iran is always hot. The myth that Iran is always hot is completely false. While Iran does have hot deserts, such as the Dasht-e-Lut, which recorded one of the highest temperatures on Earth, 70.7 degrees Celsius, 159 degrees Fahrenheit, the country also experiences cold winters, snow, and even ski resorts. Northern and western Iran, especially in the Zagros and Alborz mountains, see heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures in winter. Tehran, the capital, often gets snow, and Dizin and Shemshak are popular ski destinations. Iran has a diverse climate, ranging from scorching deserts to snowy mountains. 11. The American flag has always had 13 stripes. You know the stars and stripes, right? The red and white stripes on the U.S. flag represent the original 13 colonies. But there was a time when the U.S. flag had 15 stripes. After Kentucky and Vermont became states, the U.S. decided to add 2 more stripes to the flag. That's right. For 23 years, 1795 to 1818, the American flag had 15 stripes. 12. Brazil speaks Spanish. If you ever try speaking Spanish in Brazil, you might get confused looks because Brazil's official language isn't Spanish. It's Portuguese. This mix-up happens because almost every other country in South America speaks Spanish, so people assume Brazil does too. But history tells a different story. In 1494, Spain and Portugal signed the Treaty of Tordesillas, dividing the New World between them. Portugal got Brazil, while Spain got most of the rest of South America. That's why Brazil speaks Portuguese while its neighbors speak Spanish. Fun fact, Brazil is the only Portuguese-speaking country in the Americas. 13. The U.S. flag has always had stars and stripes. Okay, we already debunked the stripes myth, but what about the stars? You probably think the U.S. flag always had stars, right? Nope. The first national flag of the U.S. was called the Grand Union Flag, 1775 to 1777, and it had no stars at all. Instead, it had the British Union Jack in the top left corner with 13 red and white stripes. The first Stars and Stripes version of the flag didn't appear until 1777, and since then, it has changed 27 times, with stars added for each new state. 14. Japan only has a few islands. If I asked you how many islands Japan has, what would you guess? Maybe 4 or 5? Wrong. Japan has 6,852 islands. Yes, most people only know the 4 main islands, Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, and Shikoku. But Japan is actually an archipelago, a chain of islands, with thousands of smaller ones. Some of these islands are so remote that many people in Japan haven't even set foot on them. In fact, new islands still form today due to volcanic activity in the Pacific Ocean. 15. Tsunamis are only caused by earthquakes. When people hear the word tsunami, they usually think of an underwater earthquake causing giant waves. But did you know earthquakes aren't the only cause of tsunamis? Tsunamis can also be triggered by volcanic eruptions, like the 1883 Krakatoa explosion that caused a 130-foot tsunami. Underwater landslides, like the 1958 Lituya Bay tsunami that reached 1,720 feet tall, the tallest ever recorded. And asteroid impacts. Scientists believe an asteroid may have caused massive tsunamis millions of years ago. 16. Volcanoes only exist on land. Most people picture a volcano as a big, fiery mountain that erupts lava down its sides. But here's the shocking part. Most volcanoes on Earth are actually underwater. In fact, about 75% of all volcanic activity happens in the ocean, mostly along the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire, a zone where tectonic plates collide and cause frequent eruptions. Some of these underwater volcanoes are so powerful that they form new islands when they erupt. That's exactly how Hawaii was created, by volcanic activity under the ocean floor. 17. Hurricanes only form in warm tropical waters. You've probably heard that hurricanes only happen in hot, tropical regions, like the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, or Southeast Asia. But hurricanes have been recorded as far north as Canada, and even Europe. While it's true that hurricanes form over warm ocean water, some storms maintain their strength even as they move into colder waters. In rare cases, hurricanes have even struck the UK, Norway, and Iceland. So, even if you don't live in the tropics, don't assume you're 100% safe from hurricanes. 18. Climate and weather are the same thing. You've probably heard someone say, "It's cold today, so global warming must be fake." But here's the truth. Climate and weather are not the same thing. Weather is short-term. The temperature, rain, and wind happening right now or in the next few days. Climate is long-term patterns, the average weather in an area over 30-plus years. For example, a single snowstorm doesn't mean climate change isn't real, just like one hot summer day doesn't mean global warming is speeding up. 19. The ozone hole causes global warming. For years, people thought the ozone hole was responsible for global warming. But that's not true. They are two different issues. The ozone hole is a thinning of the ozone layer, mostly caused by CFC chemicals. Global warming is caused by carbon dioxide, CO2, trapping heat in the atmosphere. The ozone hole has been shrinking since countries banned harmful chemicals in the 1980s. But global warming is still a big problem that isn't solved yet. So, while both affect the planet, they're caused by different things. Don't mix them up. 20. All European countries are in the EU. Think all of Europe is part of the European Union? Nope. The EU has 27 countries, but some major European countries aren't members. Countries that are not in the EU are Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and the UK. 21. The Soviet Union only had one country. A lot of people assume that the Soviet Union was just another name for Russia. While Russia was the largest and most powerful part of it, the Soviet Union was actually made up of 15 different republics. These included modern countries like Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Kazakhstan, and several others. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, these nations became independent. So, no, the USSR wasn't just Russia, it was an entire group of nations held together under one political system. 22. The United States is the largest English-speaking country. When you think of English-speaking countries, the United States probably comes to mind first. And while the US has a massive English-speaking population, it doesn't have the most English speakers in the world. That title actually belongs to India. With over 1.4 billion people and English being one of its official languages, India has more English speakers than the US, though many also speak Hindi and other regional languages. English is widely used in business, education, and government in India, making it the world's largest English-speaking nation. 23. All of Russia is sparsely populated. Russia is the largest country in the world, stretching across 2 continents, and a huge part of it is uninhabited wilderness. But that doesn't mean the entire country is empty. Russia's 2 largest cities, Moscow and St. Petersburg, are among the biggest and busiest cities in the world, with millions of people living and working there. Moscow alone has over 13 million residents, making it one of the most populous cities in Europe. 24. India has one official language. India is one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world, and yet many people think it has only one official language, Hindi. In reality, India has 2 official languages at the national level, and that are Hindi and English. India recognizes 22 official regional languages, and there are over 1,600 languages spoken across the country. Many Indian states have their own primary language, such as Tamil in Tamil Nadu, Bengali in West Bengal, and Punjabi in Punjab. So, while Hindi and English are widely used, India is far from being a one-language nation. 25. Hong Kong is a country. Hong Kong often gets mistaken for an independent country, but it's actually a special administrative region, SAR, of China. For over 150 years, Hong Kong was a British colony, but in 1997, it was handed back to China under the agreement that it would operate under a one country, two systems framework. This means that while Hong Kong has its own government, legal system, and economy, it is still officially part of China. It even competes separately in international events like the Olympics, which adds to the confusion. But despite having many independent features, it is not a country on its own. Some of these myths have been around for centuries, while others spread thanks to movies, pop culture, and good old-fashioned misinformation. So, be honest. How many of these did you believe before watching this video? Were you surprised to learn that Japan has over 6,800 islands? Or that Brazil doesn't speak Spanish? Maybe you're still processing the fact that flamingos are born gray and not pink. Let us know.